All right, thanks, Jim. Uh,
Here, just wait one moment. I'm
oh,
just waiting for it to load up. I just want to make sure that sometimes there's a little bit of a delay.
oh, okay. Because I got a notice that says it's now streaming.
Yeah, I see
Perfect.
it.
Yep,
Okay.
you guys are all set.
All right, thanks, Jim. Hi, hello. My name's Bob D'Amico, and I'm the chairman of the Northborough Scholarship Advisory Committee. And this is our first meeting, and I have a prepared statement to read before we actually officially open the meeting. Um, this open meeting of the Northborough Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a public accessible physical location. All members of the Northborough Scholarship Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The orders allow the Northborough Scholarship Committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of the meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensure public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The meeting of the Northborough Scholarship Advisory Committee will not feature public comment. Okay. So it says here that the chair confirms that the board members and persons anticipated on agenda are remotely present and can be heard by stating the following. So members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. State each member's name. Let's see. We got Marjorie Markson. And she's not present. Let's go with Kerry Thornton Genova.
Present.
Present. Kelly Moran, rather. And he's not present. And our other new member I got to look that up. She's brand new. It was Carrie Ann Murphy, I believe. Carrie Ann Murphy? Yeah. And she's not present. So I'm wondering if they're having problems. We don't have a quorum. So we really can't conduct today's agenda according to what we have documented here as a public hearing. So I guess we're going to have to reschedule, at least in part. I could talk a little bit today on what this scholarship committee is with Kerry, and people can follow on YouTube on what we are and what the status is. The agenda today was to elect some new officers. Kelly Moran was our treasurer. He's stepping down, and I'm stepping down as the chairman. Those were the two elected officials, but we need at least 3 members of the board to be present here, and we only have 2. So I apologize for that inconvenience. I wrote a little synopsis. I'm going to read this to you, what I usually provide, and then I'll elaborate from there. It says, the mission of the Northborough Scholarship Committee is to recognize achievements of college-bound Northborough students through the award of a limited number of scholarships. Based on a comprehensive evaluation of all submitted applications against state-mandated criteria, including scholastic achievement, financial need, and community service and character, the Northborough Scholarship Committee awards college-bound Northborough residents, and that would include, not just Algonquin Regional High School, but anybody, a Northborough resident, maybe attending St. John's or a private institution, or maybe going out of town. So even to Hopkinton. So, I like to introduce our new member, Kerry Thornton Genova. If you want to speak a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Sure.
I have lived in Northborough for about 10 years now. My husband and I live on Davis Street. We have a 5-year-old son, Dante, who will be in kindergarten next year. He's a winter birthday, so we missed that cutoff this year. He'll be going to Proctor. I am a public school teacher in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. I work at Hopkinton Middle School, where I am a science teacher, though I've also taught math. And I'm also a co-CTL there, which is a curriculum teacher leader. And I joined this committee because I wanted to become more involved in my hometown versus the town where I work. I'm actually on a scholarship committee there in Hopkinton as well. This is my first committee meeting here, and I'm looking forward to learning more about this committee.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. That's great. This is our first televised scholarship committee ever, so be patient with me. I'm going to throw out a few facts before I get to the agenda. I usually put this in the town notes, but I think it's relative. You know, since 2004, we've awarded over $28,000 in scholarships to 49 students.
Wow.
So we've done it was started by in 2004 by a committee chair, Greg Young, and he had 4 of the ladies that were helping starting this whole program and did an excellent job. It was, I guess, dormant for quite a while. And when he stepped down about 3 years later, Lori, and her last name escapes me, but she took over for a couple of years. And then after that, and she was one of the original 5. And then I became the chairman since that point. The funny part about it is I got involved in the scholarship committee because I was a selectman in this town back then, and I was appointed to be the advisor to the committee. So I've been here since the beginning in a helping cause, not an actual member. But I feel obligated to continue the trend, and I hope that well, let me stop. About 3 years ago, we ran into some problems. We have stopped giving out scholarships about 3 years ago. One of the reasons was that we had a fundraiser that raised about $500, but we found out that we had owed back bills on another. What our main is a jumpy house at that at the
Apple Fest.
At the Apple Fest during the fireworks. So about 3 years ago, we raised about 500, and which is kind of like, because competition and everything used to be a really good fundraiser. We used to raise a lot more money, but it kind of dried up. And what happened was that we actually did not pay, and I didn't notice, and I checked the records and everything. We didn't pay for the jumpy house before that. So basically that $500 wiped out. So that was the first time we actually canceled scholarships that year. And then the year after that, unfortunately, they canceled the Apple Fest because of a mosquito invasion of Triple E. So they took the precaution and canceled it. So we didn't have an Apple Fest then. And so we obviously didn't have a fundraiser then. And we don't have another backup fundraiser. And since I've been involved, I've been trying different fundraisers all along. It's not like I didn't have ideas, but it's just that we never really they didn't raise a lot. They maybe raised $50 here, or not enough to really bring home a good prize for the students. So, and of course last year the coronavirus kind of wiped us out here. So here we are going on year 4 now, and I felt that it was probably the smart thing to do, because I'm just out of ideas about 5 years ago. And that I think we need new leadership really to bring the scholarship committee back on its feet. And we have right now, through the what I mentioned earlier off air was the tax form. It's not a tax from the Northboroughs, but it's actually donations through the real estate tax forms. And we've collected now about $1,152. So that's pretty good. Some of that money will go to seed money if we do another bouncy house. That usually costs about $200-300. But right now you could say we got enough money for 2 $500 scholarships. But this year's kind of passed, so I think it'll be good to save it for the incoming committee to take over, and at least they got a good start
Point.
and some seed money to play with, and any other ideas that they might be able to come up with. So I wish I could introduce you to Margie. She's a very instrumental member of our committee. She's not here. She might be on break because she usually takes school week off, and I think this is a school week. So she's in James Kahungi. Kerry is also a member, helps us with a lot of those activities. And Kelly Moran is our treasurer, and he has to step down for medical reasons. So so other than that, but I did check the treasury, and that's our balance. So that's in good shape. So I don't know.
That is good. I was going to say that's a good starting point.
Yeah. So it's not like you have nothing. I would at this point ask for volunteers to be a treasurer and chairman, but I can't do that because we don't have a quorum. So I guess we're going to have to reschedule for the rest of it.
Can I ask a few more questions while we're here?
But absolutely, that's what
give people on YouTube something to watch.
Yeah, there's probably at least one person, maybe. And maybe they'll join because of this. See how wonderful and active we are. So yeah.
Can I ask in general, what is the timeline? Because I'm comparing this to the scholarship committee I'm on in Hopkinton, and obviously by this point, students have already applied. We did the application online this year. In general, are you when it was going on without triple E COVID, all these issues that were occurring? I know it's like one thing after another.
We usually have a starter meeting in August because it's just before, like the end of August, the end of summer, just before the school year starts, just to get together and talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And we usually met at the town hall, on the third floor. They have meeting space up there. And from there, we would just try to come up with any other ideas. And then we talked about a whole bunch of ideas. We talked about, and I'll throw out a few, when Wegmans moved in or Chick-fil-A or all those companies that are actually very generous, we've approached them and things like that. And so we trying to field everybody to come up with ideas for fundraising. And I used to work for the Bose Corporation, so I used to raffle off, wave radios and things like that. But that wasn't garnering a lot of money, as I said earlier. So after all that, what I do is actually put together, and I have all the files, the 6 Excel sheets, and what we've been using as instructions to students, and we get them on town site, and we actually distribute them at the regional school and try to reach out to people, if they could pick it up at the town hall. It's actually an application for a scholarship, and that usually starts around, I would say, toward the end, mid to end January. And they have to submit it by April. Usually our deadline is, let me take an example. Too bad I can't display anything for you. Usually it's like in April 15th, I think. Let me, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Let me look it up.
Almost like where we are now, like mid.
Yeah, that's when they're due, right? So let me see, past application forms.
And this is a physical paper application, or is
it is a paper? Yeah, we're still old school. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, hand delivered to the selectman's office or on or before April 2nd. So, and so that's usually the first week in April. So it gives us a little bit of time. And what happens is that, as the chairman, what I do, and it's kind of a unique way, the way we do these scholarships. I actually don't vote.
Okay.
What I do is I take all the scholarships and I black out the names.
Yeah.
And I black out any information, personal information that they might have on there. And so what the the rest of the members they have, and this is what we require. We require a list of schools that you apply to, official, and I could email this to you, so
Okay.
you don't write this all down. Official high school
I
transcript.
write as I think, so it's totally fine.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm not going to leave you high and dry. I'll send it to you. Letters of recommendation.
Mhm.
A letter of recommendation, not
Okay.
one. The EFC page of the federal student aid report, just to know their need for
Right.
financial, and then actually an essay and an extracurricular activities list. As I mentioned earlier, we really want somebody who's also involved in the community, because it's a Northborough community scholarship, and but we want someone with good grades that
Right.
look like they're going to go forward and do something with their lives, and obviously letter of recommendations, kind of standard. They probably have them. So, and then they return the applications to the town of Northborough. I pick them up.
Mhm.
I black out the names, so it's as anonymous as it is. I'll
Mhm.
number them in the corner, and then I'll duplicate them. It's very old school. It's not automated at all. It's so I'll manually black it out, make sure they can't see who it is in case they know that person. So, but the truth is that sometimes you might recognize a person
Especially if
by
they're
what they
listing-
write
Yeah,
in the
right.
essay
They're
and
listing
things like that.
extracurriculars and everything, so.
Yeah, so they might know that senior, but anyway, most times no. I would say most times they don't know, and they pick it all on, and then I give them like a couple of weeks. So by mid-April, and that's
Mhm.
probably what I'm more remembering, is that by mid-April, we'll have a meeting like this.
Mhm.
It's not on video. We actually meet at the town hall, and everybody discuss who the candidates are, and I'll write. So they say, I like the candidate number 7 or number 15. We should get about 20-25 scholarships.
That was gonna be my next
applications.
question, actually, so.
Yeah. So we get a pretty good outpouring, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, in the last couple of years, I had to tell people we still don't have any money.
Right.
So we weren't going to have one. So other than that, that's really it. So I'll do the same thing, even though I'm probably not going to be the chairman. I'll still blot it out, so even the chairman, the future chairman, could get a taste of how it is to
Yeah.
select.
It all.
Yeah, and it's actually a fun process. Actually, I actually enjoy it. And you get to see a lot of wonderful students,
Mhm.
things that they're doing out there, and you wish you had more money to give everybody something, but you want to give somebody some. You can't give it to everybody, so you only have so much money, so you try to give $500, and hopefully that covers their books for the first year. I know
Yeah.
how expensive things are, but at least it's a seed that will help. So
Yeah.
that's what we try. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Mhm.
You actually answered a lot of the questions I had. Like, I was
Oh,
gonna
good.
ask, how much is the average award? Sounds like it's around $500. How many
Mhm.
applications you get? And sounds like you're getting a good amount.
Yeah, we varied between anywhere between $200 scholarship to $1,000 actually in the
Wow.
past. So when we had a lot more money, we gave out $1,000. When we started, when our margins started to shrink, we limited it to 500, but to give some more people
Right.
a chance. But yeah,
Yeah.
and we average, maybe in the last few years, only maybe a couple scholarships to people, and they're awarded at awards night at the regional school. We used to, and it would be a nice tradition to have back, is to give the awards at a selectmen's meeting, because the selectmen, are really sponsoring us.
Right.
So we would, we've done that several times, where we invite the students in the board of
That'd be
selectmen meeting, and they meet all the selectmen, shake their hands,
That'd be
and
nice.
yeah, and then they get the check right on the spot. But last couple of times, we just let the awards night at the regional school give them out, because they've happened to be all regional.
Right.
I think we didn't have anybody from the outside in a few years, so in several years actually.
This all sounds great. I'm sad that we can't hold the rest of the meeting
I
because
know. Are you interested
I'm
in one of the positions, Jill?
I mean, I would definitely be interested in it. I obviously don't have ton of experience
know.
because
Well-
this is my first meeting, but
Right.
like, yeah.
And not to put any pressure, I'm going to be a member for another year, so I'd like to have a transition, but I'd like to have some new leadership. I think someone to take the reins and maybe have some really fresh ideas and maybe they got some other ideas. So I'm a little regretful we probably can't even discuss that at this meeting because
Right.
we don't have our other members. So
Yeah.
but if you know anybody else,
Mhm.
that might want to join. Unfortunately, my wife helped a lot, but I can't have her a member if I'm a member. So you can't have family, so I couldn't even get her on board.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of the people have family members like wives and kids, and
Yeah.
they'll help with the activities during
Yeah.
the year and stuff like that. If we have a raffle, if we had, or we're at the Jumpy House or anything like that for safety reasons, things like that. So, yeah, it's when the events are on, we all have a good time. you
Yeah.
know? And the selections of the scholarships are actually fun, and it's different and unique. But
The cats are making noise in the background. This is the
Oh.
downfall of Zoom. They're like hissing at each other.
I have a bunch myself.
Yeah, so
Okay.
all this sounds great, and I have a few ideas, like, I'd love to discuss, but as you mentioned, it seems like it's just us here, so.
Yeah, so we'll have to table it unless you have a time constraint on maybe any of them. We could try to hold another meeting. So
Yeah, so where do we go from here? Because I'm available and I can meet next week and, whenever people are available.
I'm gonna have to talk to Diane because I don't know how to set these meetings up on
Mhm,
Zoom. And
mhm.
Jim, I appreciate your help, but we're probably gonna have to do another one. I don't know if we can do one in a couple weeks. I'll have to talk to Diane and see what her schedule is.
Yeah,
And
not
then
a
we'll-
problem. After you guys make an adjournment, I can talk to you real quick about scheduling meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just don't know how to set up the YouTube and all the video stuff that has to go on. So, I hold meetings all the time at work, but that's a lot easier than this. So, all right. Well, is there anything else, Carrie?
I think it's nothing that we can really address tonight because from the
Mhm.
sounds of it, since we don't have a quorum, we can't really proceed. I appreciate all this information though, and I'm
Mhm.
very, very interested in proceeding. So hopefully next time we see each other, there'll be a third person here.
Okay, that sounds good. I appreciate you volunteering and helping.
I'm
That'll
excited
be
for
good.
it.
Yeah. So, all right. So, I guess I'll ask, is everybody, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Should I just
So-
say motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we don't have a quorum for a second, so I guess
Yeah.
we're just gonna adjourn.